Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast. I'm your host, Steve Creasy, inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, hello and welcome to episode 3 of the DCL podcast, your podcast for Disney Cruise Line history, trip reports, and just general trip planning. Well, I want to apologize. I was hoping to get this episode out to you before the Thanksgiving holidays, but between the holidays, kind of some family stuff and gatherings that we had going on over at work, which you always have to pay the bills, right? So between work, Thanksgiving, and then right after Thanksgiving, we always take our annual trip down to Disneyland with the family to kind of kick off the holidays. It's just kind of a real magical time to be in the parks when they have all the Christmas decorations up. That kind of put me behind, and so I'm finally getting the opportunity to sit down and get this one out to you. But I do want to let you know that we're going to work on another episode hopefully this week, if not next week, but I promise I'll get it out before Christmas time, and I'm going to get my wife to join me, and we're going to talk about our experiences down at Disneyland and our stay at the Grand Californian as well. So for those of you interested in traveling during the holidays to the Disneyland Resort and Disney's California Adventure, we'll sit down and talk about that and get that out to you as well. Well, before we jump into tonight's topic, I wanted to just take a look at a couple different things that just kind of news things around the Disney Cruise Line. One of the first things I wanted to throw out there, and it may hopefully this will definitely be out before it ends. But if you go to the Disney Parks blog and then click under Disney Cruise Line, that's where I find a lot of the different news that's going on. They keep that updated pretty regularly, and up until December 19th, you've got the opportunity to enter the Disney Family Movie Magic of Europe sweepstakes. So if you've got the time to do it, I highly encourage you to go on to the Disney Parks blog and find the link to this. It's disneyparks.disney.go.com, and it's real easy to do. You've got to have a Disney account, which I'm guessing if you're listening to this, you probably do have a Disney account. But you just sign into your Disney account and add all your information there, your address and name and whatnot, and that's it. That's all you've got to do, and then you've got a chance to possibly you and your family have a chance to possibly be cruising the Mediterranean with DCL this coming summer. So how cool would that be to win something like that? One of the other things that I saw as I was flying around last month and looking at one of the magazines that gets left on board our planes quite a bit is Condé Nast Traveler. I guess people that are flying around like to travel, so it's one of the magazines that, it's one of the few magazines, if you travel on planes lately. Not too many people even bring magazines with them anymore. It's kind of a dying industry, sort of like the newspapers sometimes. But I was looking at one that was left on board, and it was kind of cool because it's the Reader's Choice Awards that they do every year. And under the cruise categories, Disney came out on top, believe it or not, in the large ships. So ships that have more than 2,500 passengers. The readers of Condé Nast that took the time to fill out this awards survey, they picked Disney number 1, Cunard number 2, Princess number 3, Celebrity number 4, and Norwegian number 5. So kind of amazing that the Disney ships won the large category. And then in the medium category, they also won as well. And I guess one of the things that I like about this kind of recognition is this is from people that are actually going out there and spending some time on the ship. So just people like you and me, and letting our voices be heard rather than the so-called experts, I guess, putting stuff out there. But it was kind of cool, too. In the medium ships, Disney came in number 2 behind Crystal Cruises, and the top 5 were Crystal Cruises number 1, Disney number 2, Regent Seven Seas Cruises number 3, Cunard number 4, and Oceania number 5. So those are all pretty respectable cruise lines, some of the top ones in the industry. So to see Disney up there, which if you're listening to this, you obviously have a soft spot for DCL like I do, and it's nice to see them get that recognition. They also came in, I guess it must be the awards season right now for all the for a lot of the travel publications out there. But U.S. News and World Report also picked them to be the top cruise for families in 2017. So I guess they're already talking about 2017. And then they also were picked as the top Caribbean cruise line in 2017. So a few awards out there for DCL coming from some of the publications that are out there. And the other thing going on right now, obviously the very merry cruises are going on. So one of those cruises, I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to have the opportunity to take, at least not in the near future. But I would love to talk to somebody. If there's anybody out there that has been on one or is going on one and would like to come on the show and talk about your experiences on a very merry Christmas time cruise, I would love to talk to you about it. So you can reach out to me at DCL Podcasts through Twitter. And I now also have my Facebook page up and running, which is also DCL Podcast on Facebook. So just go to Facebook and in the search area, just type in DCL Podcast. That'll come up. And I do the best to look at those pages and follow along on Twitter every day. So if there's anybody that's interested in coming on and talking about one of the very merry cruises or just one of your cruise experiences in general, please reach out to me and we'll make that happen. So that would be kind of a neat thing to do, is to actually talk to somebody that has been on one of those cruises. Well, on to our topic today, or tonight, whenever you happen to be listening to the show. And tonight we're going to talk about fast pass strategies for the airport. As over Thanksgiving, as I pulled into, I actually got to fly Thanksgiving Day in the morning, and it's always amazing to me how many people actually fly on the actual holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, New Year's Day. It used to be a time when it was actually kind of quiet around the airports, and on a lot of the flights, and the airlines would pull back and not fly as many flights during those times, but pretty much it's just a normal day around the airport on these days. It's just as busy as any other. And as I came up the escalator here at our local airport, I got up towards the TSA lines, and boy, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and the line was all the way through all the stanchions and down halfway down the concourse. People, were waiting in line already to get into the airport. And of course, as those of you who have traveled recently in the airports, you get up there and you see that long line, and there's always that one little line over to the left or over to the right that says TSA PreCheck on it. And we never have TSA PreCheck stamped on our tickets, it seems like. They used to kind of do it at random when the program first started, and some people would be selected at random to go through it. And then I believe some of the airlines now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that we do it at Alaska, but a lot of the airlines, for their first class customers, if you're traveling on a first class ticket, will give you give you access to the TSA PreCheck line. But for the majority of us, we get up there and we're in that long line, and we're watching that other little hidden line over there that says TSA PreCheck, and people are zooming right on in, and it seems like that line is always shorter and always moving faster than the one that we're in. So today we're going to talk about 3 different options to fast pass your way through some of the lines at the airport, and specifically TSA PreCheck, Global Entry, and kind of a smaller, obscure one, which I'm guessing most people have never heard of. It's an app you can get on your phone called Mobile Passport. And Global Entry and TSA PreCheck are going to be probably the most useful ones for most people, because those are the ones that you can use when you're traveling domestically around the United States. But Global Entry and Mobile Passport's main functions are for those people who are traveling internationally. When you come back, you've got to go through customs. They give you access to generally shorter lines and quicker ways when you come back from an international trip to get through customs. So let's start off with the TSA PreCheck. That's probably the one that, like I said, is going to be the apply to most people, and one that most people will probably use more substantially than the others, unless you're traveling internationally all the time. So if you're like our family, if you want to travel most places around the United States, you're going to have to get on a plane to get there. It's just faster, it's quicker. If we want to go on a cruise out of the Caribbean, most of those cruises leave out of Florida, some of them, up in the Northeast area, and then DCL also sails out of Galveston. We could drive there, but obviously flying is going to be a lot easier. So TSA PreCheck is a great way for you, and it's a great program for you to get involved with to beat those long security lines when you get to the airport. So, what is TSA PreCheck? Well, it's a program run by the TSA itself, which gives you access to the TSA PreCheck lines, the ones that you see that generally are shorter than the long lines that I've been talking about that I usually, and maybe you usually end up in. They're shorter and they move a lot faster. So what does it do? It allows you to go through a screening line where you don't need to remove your shoes, take your laptops out of your bag. You don't have to take your liquids out of the bag. However, you still have to have the liquids in the same requirements as the regular line. You have to have a max of 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters max. That's got to be in a container, and then those containers have to be put in a quart-sized, clear, resealable bag. Also, you don't have to take off your belts, or if you have a light coat on, you don't have to take off your light coat as well. So looking at their TSA's website, which is what you're going to go to apply for this program, in October of 2016, 97% of TSA PreCheck travelers waited less than 5 minutes. Well, that line, I just, on a whim on Thanksgiving, when I came up there, I asked one of the TSA agents, hey, how long is the line running right now? And at that time, it was about 45 minutes from the end of the line until you made it through the TSA line. So, 5, 10, 15 minutes, it's going to be a lot nicer than waiting the 45 minutes. Now, some airlines, like we talked about, automatically give their first-class travelers access to those lines when they're traveling on a first-class ticket. But for the rest of us, back in steerage or coach class, we have to apply for it to be able to use something like this. So who's eligible? Well, all U.S. citizens are eligible for the program. There are some foreign citizens who are eligible for TSA PreCheck, and without going through all of them, I would just encourage you to go to the website and you can check on your eligibility if you or your spouse happens to be a foreign descent and find out whether you can actually apply for the program as well. You can use TSA PreCheck lines anywhere in the United States that they have them, and it doesn't matter whether you're traveling domestically, so heading from Oregon to Florida, or if you're going on an international flight over to Europe, you're still eligible to use the PreCheck line. Well, what about your family? This is kind of a neat thing in that each adult or anybody who's 12 and older has to have their own TSA PreCheck eligibility, or has to go through the screening process to get their card and their known traveler number, which I'll talk about here in just a couple minutes. But for kids 12 and under who are traveling with somebody that has the a known traveler number through TSA PreCheck, they can use the TSA PreCheck line as well. However, everybody over 13 and over has to have their own known traveler number. So, family of 4, you need the 2 adults would have to have TSA PreCheck, known traveler numbers, and the 2 kids would have access with them as you went through the line. So the whole family can go through the line together, which is kind of nice. Well, how do you apply for this program? You need to go to the internet, obviously, and get on tsa.gov, and there you're going to fill out an online application. It takes about 5 minutes to fill out. It's really basic, just kind of information about yourself, where you live, your age, all that kind of things. So once you filled that out, at the end of the application, you're going to need to schedule an appointment to come in and have a background check with a TSA agent. And that's pretty easy. There's over 380 of them around the United States to find a local one. And I have not done the TSA PreCheck. I actually did Global Entry. And there's one here in Portland. It's right there at the airport. So for me, it was pretty easy. I just came in an hour earlier before one of my flights and met with them and got the background check done there. I do believe if you go on it, if you look at it, there are some places like downtown, so you don't necessarily always have to go out to the airport, but that's probably where the majority of them are going to be. So after you fill out the application online, you're going to schedule this appointment with a TSA agent. And at the appointment, they're going to go over, it's kind of a basic background check. They're going to look at your criminal record. They will have already pulled that up. So if you have any a criminal record of any sort, or outstanding driving warrants or anything like that, they're going to cover all of that information with you. They're also going to ask you why you're applying for it, and your reason is because you like to travel and you want to avoid the lines. And then they're also going to fingerprint you. And the fingerprinting is no big deal. It's just an electronic fingerprint. So you're going to put it on your fingers on a screen, and they're just going to take a snapshot of your fingers, and then that's going to go in their database. And from there, you are now done. Through Global Entry, they gave me a temporary card once I was done right there. And I'm not sure. I tried to find that on TSA PreCheck to find out whether they would do that as well. But once you're approved, if you're approved right there, then I believe they're going to give you your known travel number, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Well, what's the cost of this program? It's not too bad, really. It's $85 per person, and once you're approved, it's good for 5 years. So $85, 5 years, depending on how much you travel. If you're somebody that travels, once every 5 years, I wouldn't do it. But if you're somebody that happens to travel quite a bit and are at the airport quite a bit, as I was saying, then I think this is a great program to get on board with. Shorter lines, and it's going to get you through there faster. All right, so once you're approved and you get your known traveler number, what do you do with that? Well, that's what you're going to use each time you fly, when you buy your ticket or when you check in. On most of the online check-in sites that I've seen, it gives you an option to put your known traveler number in. And so that's what you'll do. With our frequent flyer program at Alaska, and I'm sure it does it at Delta and some of the other airlines as well, Southwest, I'm sure. It keeps track of all your information in there, or if you establish an account with them for like their mileage program. And one of the things with Alaska, I know for sure you can put in your known traveler number. So when you book a flight and set everything up online, that's automatically in there. Now, when you get to the airport and print out your ticket, or you print out your boarding pass at home, or if you use an electronic boarding pass, it's going to show up as a show up to give you eligibility to go to the TSA PreCheck line. And that is because of the known traveler numbers in there. And that's it. That's all you got to do. So you apply for it online. You go and do the interview. You get your known traveler number. Each time you buy a ticket, you input the known traveler number in there. And now you've got access when you get to those long lines to skip the long one, go to the short one, and use the TSA PreCheck line, which once again is a little bit faster and a little bit easier to use, since you don't have to take your laptop out and you don't have to take your coat off and your shoes and whatnot. Now, the next one, which is the one that I've actually applied for, is called Global Entry. And the main purpose of Global Entry is to be able to let you fast pass through the customs area, so you don't have to wait in the long lines when you come back into the United States. And I want to be specific that it only works when you come back into the United States. It doesn't work when you go to Mexico or India or any other country. There are some other programs. So if you travel to Canada, for instance, they have a program called Nexus, I believe, and you can use that to expedite your way into and out of Canada. But Global Entry is only for coming back into the United States. But the ancillary, that's a big word, huh? Pretty excited to use that one. The ancillary benefit of Global Entry is it also gives you access to TSA PreCheck when you put the known traveler number, which you get through Global Entry, down when you buy your ticket. Okay, take a breath. That's a lot of information, isn't it? But let's go over Global Entry. Why did I get Global Entry? Well, I do a lot of flights that come back from Mexico, and we come into San Francisco and San Diego and LA. San Diego and LA, for where we come into, is usually pretty easy. San Francisco can be a nightmare sometimes when you get to the customs area in an Air India, in an Air China, or you name the airline has gotten in there, and there's literally anywhere from 150 to 500 people ahead of you, and you've got to sit there and wait for them all. We do, as a crew, actually have a separate line that we can use, but a lot of times you end up stuck behind the crews of the other aircraft or the other airlines, and that ends up being quite a long line as well when you have to wait for that. So what Global Entry does is it provides you kind of a fast pass away a fast-pass way to get around waiting in those lines. Once again, it's almost just like the TSA pre-check. When you get in the customs area, you're going to see the long lines of everybody waiting to talk to the customs agent. And usually on the side, they'll have a global entry area where you're going to be able to go. And actually, you don't even have to have anything other than your passport, because your passport is associated with your global entry number. And so you just go up to the global entry machine, scan your passport, and boom, it spits out, you answer the questions, it spits out a ticket for you. You walk by, show the customs official, and skip everybody that's waiting in the line, and you are right in and on your way rather quickly. So, global entry. Let's get back to the basics of it. What is global entry? Global entry is a program run by a company called Fast Track Consultancy Services. And what they do is they work with U.S. Customs and Border Protection to allow predetermined low-risk travelers to expedite their border crossings by using fast-track lanes. So if you're a low-risk person that doesn't have a criminal background and travels a lot, you can use their services and apply for this program. So what does this mean by applying for global entry? Once again, it's kind of like the TSA pre-check. By applying for a global entry card, you're going to become a trusted traveler. Let me start that again. By applying for a global entry card, you get trusted traveler status, so you can go through an expedited customs lines when you come back to the U.S., and they usually take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to get through the line versus 30 minutes on up when you're waiting in line with everybody else when you come back through customs. As I said, you're also eligible to use the TSA pre-check line when you input the known traveler number that you're going to get from global entry when you buy your ticket. And so you can use it both coming and going from the United States. Like I said, to be honest, global entry is probably best only for those who travel a lot and come into and out of the country. And so how do you apply for it? It's exactly the same thing as TSA pre-check almost, except in this instance, you're going to go to www.fasttrackpassportcontrol.com. And I'll put the TSA pre-check site and the global entry site in the show notes, so you can go back and take a look at that if you're interested in doing either one of these programs. Once again, you're going to fill out an online questionnaire. When you get done, you're going to set up a background check with the TSA agent, and it's literally the exact same process. And when I went through it, the background check took like maybe 5 minutes, just a couple of cursory questions, and then he gave me my known traveler number. And a couple of weeks later, I got my actual card in the mail. And as I said, all the card does is it's got your picture on it, it's got your known traveler number, but everything else is also associated with your passport, so you don't even have to bring your global entry card with you. The main thing you need is it to be associated with your passport, and then also to know what your known traveler number is. All right. The upside to the global entry side is, once again, kids can follow you through TSA pre-check line. The downside with global entry is it's going to cost you $250 for your first application, and then $100 to renew every 5 years. So once again, it's good for 5 years, but it's a lot more expensive, and that's why I say it's probably, unless you're traveling outside of the United States quite a bit, it's probably not something that most people really need to get, and I would probably go with the TSA pre-check if the majority of your flights were in the United States. The last thing is, once again, each individual adult has to have their own global entry card, or has to have their own global entry status to use it. So if it's you and your wife flying, or you and your spouse is going to have their own global entry card as well. Okay, so the last one, I hope you're following me with this, and I know it's kind of confusing. I'm trying to keep this a little bit short so that if you want to, you can go back and listen to it again. And if anything doesn't seem clear, please, go to the websites, take a look at it. They've got a bunch of frequently asked questions under each one of these, and you can always reach out to me as well on either the Facebook site or also through Twitter. The last one I'm going to talk about is mobile passport, and this one's pretty obscure. And just to tell you a quick story, so before I got my global entry, access, we came back from Mexico and landed into San Francisco. And sure enough, there was a British Air crew and an Air India crew in front of me. All the flight attendants I was with and my first officer all had global entry. So boom, they're on their way. And I'm standing behind 30 people going, wow, this is going to take forever waiting to get through customs. And I saw a little sign up on the wall and it said mobile passport. I'm like, well, what's that? So I stepped out of the line, walked back and found one of the agents back there. And I said, hey, what's the mobile passport app thing that you guys are advertising up there? And he goes, oh, it's a new thing that we just started. It's done through TSA, the TSA as well. And you can download it, and it's you can do it right now if you want to. So I pulled out my smartphone, downloaded the app. If you go to the App Store for Apple, it's called Mobile Passport, MOBILE Passport. The app comes up, and it took me literally less than 5 minutes to set it up. You put in a password, you set up your account, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put your passport number in there. It will recognize it. It goes to its own system, recognizes that it's a valid passport. You take a picture of yourself, so you do your little selfie on the phone, and that's it. You've got your account set up. And then the next thing you do is the app steps you through it. It says, hey, where have you landed? And when I did it initially, it was only good. It was kind of in the trial basis, so there was only 4 or 5 airports that you could use it at. But now there are over 20 different airports. And once again, this is a program. This program is only for coming back into the United States. It's only to help you fast pass through the customs area. This one will not help you, or this one just has no TSA PreCheck associated with it. So you can't use it to fast pass through the long security lines to get into the airport. This is only for coming back into the country. But you can now use it at over 20 different airports. All the main entry points into and out of the U.S., or all the main entry airports into and out of the U.S. are available. JFK, LAX, Chicago, Atlanta, they're all, San Francisco, which I used it at, are all available. So you open up the app, you sign into your account, it says, hey, where are you at? It's like, I just landed in San Francisco on flight such and such, and you answer the questions. No, I don't have any firearms, all that kind of stuff with you. No, I'm not bringing, tons of money back into the country. You answer everything that you have there, and then it gives you a barcode. At least it did. I haven't used it now for a year, so maybe it might have changed. And you take that to the mobile passport app, mobile passport line. And sometimes they're a little bit hidden, but it's mainly because nobody's using it. And so I think once it catches on, if they keep going with this program, it's going to become more popular. But to be honest, the majority of people, they just don't travel into and out of the country as much. So the only people that really know about it are the people that travel quite a bit. Most of those people do global entry. So yeah, I don't know how this program's going to go, but once you find that mobile passport line, it fast passes you up to the front to one of the customs agents. You show them the barcode, they scan it, it gives you a little printout, and then you take that through the line. And there you go, you're on your way. So that is a program which is kind of up and coming. And the last thing I'd like to mention about it as well is not only is it upcoming, it is free. So it is the one program out of the 3 that is actually a free program for you to use. As far as cruising goes, it is actually available right now at only one port. So coming back from a cruise vacation, it's only available at Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. So hopefully, and that's kind of an exciting thing, if they get this program up and running, and maybe even Global Entry could use, or you could use that through Global Entry to help you avoid maybe some of those customs lines when you come back from a cruise through the Caribbean. But like I said, right now, according to their website, the only cruise port that you can use it at is Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. So there you go. 3 different ways that you can fast pass your way through some of the long lines in the airport. Once again, TSA PreCheck, and I think that's probably the most useful program for most people out there. Also, Global Entry, which gives you TSA PreCheck, the ability to use TSA PreCheck, and also to avoid those lines when you come back out of the U.S. or come back from overseas in the customs area. And finally, the most obscure one, but kind of a neat little one, known as Mobile Passport. There are some other programs as well. I know in San Jose, there's a program called Clear. So if you happen to live in the San Jose area, I know they have a program called Clear, which is a separate line, kind of like TSA PreCheck, which fast passes you through when you go through the TSA security part as you go into the airport. And there may be other programs out there next time you go to your airport that you're traveling out of. Just kind of look around. My guess is the majority of them have TSA PreCheck now, but there might be something in your neck of the woods too, which might be a different type of program. But the problem with Clear is that only works, as far as I know right now, at just a few airports. So unless you're traveling to those airports over and over and over again, I'm not sure how useful it is to use it. Or like in the San Jose case, if you're flying out of San Jose all the time, then it might be worth buying into. So a couple of different ideas for you to use your Disney skills to navigate the airports. Well, thanks for listening tonight. I know it was a little bit complicated. Did the best I could to try and keep the information somewhat basic. And like I said, if you have any questions, please go to those websites. I'll have them in the show notes, but go to the websites. They definitely have frequently asked question tabs that you can click on and learn a little bit more about. And by all means, feel free to reach out to me either through the Facebook page or on Twitter at DCL Podcast. And I'll try and answer any questions that you may have involving any of these programs, or at least try and look it up for you as well. Well, that's going to do it for our show tonight. I do thank you once again for listening. We always do appreciate that. If you have any questions, or if you have any interest in coming on the show and talking about your experiences on a recent or fairly recent DCL cruise, I'm always all ears for that, and it would be fun to take the time, just as John and I did when we talked about our cruise to Norway together on the last episode. Well, I want to wish you and your families a happy holiday season as the couple weeks go by, and I look forward to episode 4, which should be out hopefully next week. And like I said, I'm going to call my wife to get on it, and we'll talk about our experiences celebrating or kicking off the holidays down at the Disneyland parks in California and our stay at the Grand Californian. So until that time, I'd like to wish you and your families once again happy holidays and safe travels.